Hey everybody, it's Alan, and I hope you are doing well. It has been far too long since I've hit a Chicago song here on the channel. I was recently reminded of this because a friend of mine had given me this Chicago 45 that they had found in a used music store, used record store, or wherever the heck they found it. And I'm like, that is so cool. I haven't done a Chicago song on the channel in a while, and I need to rectify that. So we're going to go to the Live at Tanglewood performance back in, I think, right around 1970. And we're going to listen to them do the song, I Don't Want Your Money.
Fancy clothes, baby, or a diamond ring. I don't have to ride a style in your limousine. I don't have no time to worry, no tax or Uncle Sam. You, baby, be your natural man. I don't want your prestige, I got my pride. I don't need your social standing, I'd rather stand outside. Have no time to worry about your everyday job. I don't want your money, I don't like that game. All I want is you, baby, to be your natural man.
Remarkable groove. Now the studio version's incredible too, but listening to them play it live just puts a whole other extra cherry on top of it. And we're all familiar as Chicago fans with the quotes of Jimi Hendrix saying that Terry Kath was a better guitar player than he was. And I believe that he said that twice. Once when meeting the band backstage at the Whiskey here in Los Angeles before he asked them to open up for him. And then once again, I believe later on in an interview with a reporter of some kind, when asked what he thought of being the greatest guitar player on the planet. And he said, I don't know. You'll have to ask Terry Kath. Terry was a particular genius that unfortunately, because of his tragic passing in 1978 and the fact that Chicago was known as a rock band with horns, where people were, for lack of a better term, distracted by the horn section and therefore a little bit less aware of the greatness of the guitar player. Again, as fans, we know Terry Kath is a musical genius, but the mainstream sort of heard the horns and kind of dismissed the guitar player for some ridiculous reason. And then you add on top of that the fact that most Chicago songs were not 3.5 minutes long, but they were more like 5 or 6 minute long. And you get the idea of why not as many people recognize the greatness of Terry Kath from the earlier years, unless you're a diehard Chicago fan and you push people to go back and listen to that first decade from 68 to 78. Again, people are just unaware of the greatness of Kath. And so whenever I play them in the store at work, and I'm playing Chicago, inevitably somebody or several people come along and go, oh man, I haven't heard this Chicago song in forever. Or who's that guitar player? That was incredible. And, you have to teach and inform. And that's really one of the beauties of this type of channel that I'm doing here is hopefully I'm informing people who have never heard of some of these artists before or some of these songs by some of these famous artists before, that it kind of reinvigorates the investigation into seeking out the older material, the deeper tracks and listening to them and hopefully keeping the name alive a little bit. I can't sit there and say I have the biggest influence in the world because I've only got, about 1,400 subscribers. And we're trying to grow this channel organically. So I'm not going to say the 3 words that drive me crazy or the 3 terms that drive me crazy on other channels. I just hope that, if at the end of this video you find a need to go back and listen to the Tanglewood concert or go listen to the, first few Chicago albums, first 8 Chicago albums, first 10, that you do start to revitalize the love for Terry Kath and the boys and maybe pass that along to your family, your kids, your grandkids, your nephews, your uncles, your friends, whatever it is, and just sort of continue to keep the greatness of Terry Kath alive in your hearts and in your ears. With that said, this is about 1970, so I think this was after the second album, could be even after the third album that this was recorded. And the reality of it is that, Chicago, with all of those double albums, by the time they got to releasing the second album, that point right there, they'd already put out 4 albums worth of material because they were doing double albums for almost all of the studio recordings, Chicago Transit Authority through Chicago 10, Chicago 11. They're all double albums. And so you can look at it and go, oh, they only released 10 or 12 albums with Terry Kath, but they really released twice as much music. So you could sit there and say, well, the first 6 albums with Terry Kath were great. Well, that's 12 albums worth of material. Think about that for a second and don't overwrite that because it's actually a really interesting point as to the talent that Chicago exemplifies, but also the sheer desire to create and put out music and give more to the fans. I think it's a testament to the greatness that is Chicago, and I think we should listen to them more. So with that said, please feel free to leave a comment. We can talk about it further. Just know that I appreciate all of you, and I wish you well.